Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. Asa Hutchinson was just booed for over a minute straight for his comments on Trump at the Florida Freedom Summit. This is what he had to say.
As someone who's been in the courtroom for over 25 years as a federal prosecutor, and also in defending some of the most serious federal criminal cases, I can say that there is a significant likelihood that Donald Trump will be found guilty by a jury on a felony offense next year. That may or may not happen before you vote in March. And it might not make any difference to you, but it will make a difference for our chances to attract independent voters in November. It will make a difference for those down ticket races for Congress and Senate, and it will weaken the GOP for decades to come. As a party, we must support the rule of law. We cannot win as a country without integrity in the White House. And while some will ignore the destructive behavior of the former president, I assure you we ignore it at our own peril.
So this is a prime example of Republicans, GOP members, not knowing their base. And honestly, this election cycle has been ripe with this sort of behavior from Republicans. They don't know their base at all. They don't know what the average American wants or what they believe. About 40% of the Republicans are diehard Trump followers, the real MAGA Republicans, if you will. And there's a not insignificant amount that are Trump sympathizers, that aren't fully on board with the Trump MAGA train, but like Trump, they like what he's done. He has a decent record as president. And so they still are willing to support him, maybe not their first choice, but certainly not a never-Trumper. So overwhelmingly, you can say the majority of Republicans, maybe a small majority, actually kind of like Trump or really like Trump. And what they don't like is hearing comments about the president that they like being arrested and thrown under the bus by his constituents. They don't like when a Republican candidate bashes everything Trump's done for them and then points to, quote, the rule of law, making it seem like this is not a coordinated attack on Trump, even though everybody knows it is. And everybody knows that this is basically just a show anyways. Most of the charges will not really go anywhere, and any of the ones that do are not going to end with anything significant. You know, a slap on the wrist, maybe some fines. We're not going to see Trump hauled off to federal prison. That's just not going to happen. And he makes the point that this may hurt the GOP in bringing in independents to vote Republican if the main presidential candidate is being tried with all these charges. Well, actually, we know that's not the case. When you look at the statistics, polls actually show that Trump has gone up in popularity every single time he has been indicted. And that's not just Republicans, that's with independents too. Because a lot of people see this as a coordinated attack on Trump specifically, not based on his crimes, but based on who he is. They're going after the man because he is who he is, and they're trying to do whatever it takes, find whatever charges, and maybe even make up some, that's in people's opinion, in order to make Trump look like some sort of international criminal, some conspirator, some revolutionary against the US government, trying to destabilize your life and ruin it for generations to come. It's just silly. And so the points he made, these are kind of now the standard Republican talking points. You know, Trump's going to be found guilty. He'll lose support among independents. This will weaken the party. Well, newsflash, the party's been weak for decades. The Republican Party has been so weak for decades that it only took one man to single-handedly co-opt the entire party over the course of 1 year. 2015, basically. 2015 and 2016. He co-opted half of the Republican Party immediately. And the Republicans have been fighting an uphill battle against Trump ever since. It's been 8 years of Trump ruling the Republican Party. He has been the figurehead, he's been the face, he's been leading it. So it's really just astonishing that these sort of things keep happening, that candidates will come out, make statements about Trump that are aggressive and demeaning, and then get booed and then continue to keep doing it. I mean, none of these candidates should have run in the first place. It's obviously Trump is the front runner. It's obvious that he's going to win as of now. I think anything short of him dying, he's going to be the candidate. Trump could literally run from prison and he'd have a much better shot of winning than Asa Hutchinson. So Republicans, if they want to win in the future, they need to figure out who their base is. Who are they targeting? What do they want? Because they don't know. You listen to Fox News and half the reporters don't know what's going on. They don't know how to relate to the average Republican. the average American. They're confused, they're bewildered, they don't get why people like Trump, and they won't listen either when someone tries to explain it to them. The Republican Party is different now. Same thing as the Democratic Party is. The political parties have shifted over time because the people have shifted over time and their interests have shifted over time. And the Republican Party tries to clutch to these principled conservative traditional values, but values that they barely ever actually follow up on, and values that are only a small portion of the major problems that Americans are facing today. And someone who does a better job of addressing the values that the average American faces is Donald Trump. That's why he has support. If you want it spelled out for you, the Republican Party, do not meet the needs of the average American. You do not promise what they want, and you certainly don't deliver what they want. And so they've gone with the other option. The guy who's now become the face of the Republican Party, the guy who actually kind of gave them what they wanted and actually kind of gave them what they needed. And they think that he'll do it again, certainly better than any of the other candidates. So let me know down in the comments below, do you support Trump? Are you a big fan of his? Or do you just kind of go along with it because you think he does a pretty good job compared to other people? Or are you on the other side where you absolutely hate Trump? And if so, who would be a better option? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.